I'm Troy Thompson. Over the last 15 years, our family has worked hard to create a place we call the center of the universe. A place where our kids and someday our grandkids can come home to and laugh, have fun, learn how to work, pray, worship God, and be a place to celebrate life with all our friends. After a quarter century in uniform, I put away one set of boots for another, working on our acreage, improving the land, fixing some structures, and building new ones. We say, give back to the community, be useful, keep your hands calloused, and spread the gospel. This is a little place in a little state right in the middle of flyover country, from which cries out a voice in the wilderness to all who might want to listen, learn, and laugh along with us. This is our American dream. Hello, friends and neighbors, and welcome to Sunnyside. I hope you had a great weekend, and hope that last week was just really good for you. It was fine. The weather was fine. Did a little bit of raining around here about the middle of the week, and that's okay. We needed the rain, from what I understand, from people that know whether or not we need rain. I did some cutting of flax last week, which for the neighbor down the road, and he had planted that flax. We've talked about that on the show before, and then it was time to cut it. So I had the opportunity to go over there and do that, and I'd never really seen flax up close and personal. It's an interesting little plant. It's got just a big long stem that you can, I mean, that's where linen comes from. And so that was, and then it's got these little, it's a flower. And once the flower petals disappear, they have these little, tiny little balls that have the flax seed in them. And just like some of the wildflowers. And it's really cool. The seeds, you can kind of pull them off the stem, and you can rub them around in your hand, and then the little flax seeds, are removed from their husk. They're very small. They're kind of waxy. They're very good for oil, but very, very small. And so I was a little concerned about what would happen if I just, cut everything down, if all of those little seeds would shake out. But it turns out that's not what happened. And so what's going to happen next, I think, is talk to another fella that I know who run into from time to time, and he said that another guy knew how to or had a machine that could harvest small grains like that. And so I ran into him later last week on Wednesday, and he thought he might take a look at it. And so so the neighbor might have a way to harvest this flax now that it's down. We'll see what that yields. It's not mine. It's not my flax. It's not any of that. It's just kind of an interesting process, because he had stopped by, the neighbor did, and asked me, introduce himself, and we talked about some different things and thought about, what he was going to plant there, kind of told me his plans and asked me. I said, well, I'd plant flax. I've heard that it makes good straw, and it's interesting, byproduct with the oil that comes from the seed, whether you call it linseed oil or flaxseed oil. Either way, it's the same thing from the same plant. And so we're going to see, I guess, what that amounts to. I'm more as a bystander in this situation, but once that is harvested, once the grain is harvested, I think he's going to try to sell that and get it back to the place that he got the seed from, which is north of here about an hour, and they can clean it, and then they can sell it again. So they'll buy it from him if it meets the standard, and we don't really know what the standards are, because neither of us have ever done this. So it'll be an interesting process, and once that is completed, then we'll be able to bale up all of that flax for straw, which is, from what I've read, pretty absorbent. It's a very good kind of straw, and the animals like it. It lasts a little bit longer than the regular straw. It's like having a linen straw, so to speak, raw linen straw. So it'll be interesting and kind of fun. And so then he'll be able to sell that to folks who want good bedding. And since the seeds are all removed, and the weed seeds should be mostly or all removed in the harvesting process, then it'd probably make a good garden cover. I don't think it would be a good garden cover if it didn't have the seeds removed, because there are a lot of weeds in it. And maybe that'll be a problem when it comes time to sell the seed back to the seed place. I don't know. That's not my issue, but I'm following the process closely, because down the road, I feel like that's still something that I would like to do. And it's pretty much the same operation as the alfalfa, with the additional step of having to actually, harvest the seed. And so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, so that's probably going to occur maybe later this week and all of that. This past weekend, I was just so busy. I was going on 8 hours of sleep from Thursday through Saturday. And that's because of all of the things that I do to get ready as the public announcer for the football programs at the high school and also at the university. I'm a president of the Gridiron Club for Waldorf University. That's a 501c3 organization that raises money and supports the football program specifically, and have been doing that for really quite some time. Just became president this year, but have been associated with the Gridiron Club for the last few years, and it's really been a fun ride as we really have a very unique experience. We call it the best small college football experience in America, and that's marketing. Whether it actually is, I'm not sure. I haven't experienced all the other football programs and small colleges in America, but we like to believe that it is, and that's something that we strive for. We have an outstanding tailgating area on game days. The game day experience is as big and as fun as we can possibly make it, and we just get lots of people involved. And this past Saturday was Community Day, and so the process that goes into that, creating the script and making sure that we've got all of the arrangements made for the honorary ball boys, the honorary coin toss people, making sure that the music is lined up and all of that, and just everything. There's just so many open things. And then we feed the team after the game, and so there's logistical things that have to be set up there. It's the first home game, so we had to get the new banners up, and we had to kind of decorate the place and kind of create a little fenced-in area in the tailgate section for the team feed, and there were trailers that needed to be moved in for the cooking the food and just a lot of stuff. And so overall, it was a great experience. And the night before that, Friday night, was the first home game for the high school team, and I announced that as well. I also write that script, and it has to all be back timed in both cases so that you hit the mark when it comes to kickoff, and you have to make sure you get all the announcements. And it was also breast cancer or cancer awareness, I guess, cancer awareness at the high school where they did the coaches versus cancer thing. So there were a lot of additional things involved with that. And of course, I actually do stuff during the day, and part of that included a fun thing like on Friday afternoon. Prior to the football game, we had a 9-hole golf tournament for the Gridiron Club, and so that was the inaugural Gridiron Club golf tournament, and got to be a part of that. My friend Carl Woolridge, who's been on the show, and then my sister-in-law, Juliana, who has been on the show in another way. She's provided the voice in some of our skits. She's an outstanding golfer. Carl and I are not. But that's not really what it was about. It's a fundraiser and a fun day. And we didn't win anything, even though Juliana really did carry the two of us because she's an outstanding golfer. And so beautiful weather, a little cooler perhaps than normal, but overall a very, very good experience. And so all of that had to be taken care of too, and had to it wasn't at the golf course that we are normally at in Forest City, just where we golf. So we had to load up golf carts and get them to the right spot and all of that stuff. So there was just a lot of things happening, and I would be doing stuff during the day and working and around Sunnyside and all of that, and then still would have to do the things that we do as a family at night. And then after that, I would end up working on all of the emails and the letters and the fan notifications for the Gridiron Club and the scripts and all of that. Blah, blah, blah. So I do a lot of work outside, getting the hands calloused and staying busy there at working on things here at Sunnyside. But I also do a lot of things in the studio. Obviously, I'm producing 3 podcasts.
Hi, this is Scott Bertelson. I was a public education instructor at Forest City High School for 39/40 Hooks Counting years. And during that time, I learned a lot about myself and life, as I still am now in my retirement. That's why I am hosting Mr. B's Dinner Party on this podcast platform. And I hope that you will join me at the dinner table for conversational morsels for the mind. Now, you may be wondering what that is. Well, you'll have to tune in to find out. But let me guarantee you, you will leave my dinner table feeling full and feeling satisfied.
Join Mr. B's dinner party from Sunnyside Farm Studios every other Wednesday, premiering August 23rd, 2023.
Hope that you will join me for Mr. B's dinner party on this platform.
Is the mic hot right now?
The Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast.
So we've got some changes to talk about.
Very exciting time
Moly.
here at Waldorf University.
We're back, baby.
Hey, we can talk about it.
All right, let's go, boys. A brand new season.
It's a brand new season. This is season 3.
Woo. Troy, it's been a spell.
You made me laugh about that.
I know.
Something we have not had in a very long time.
Yeah, well, the first 4 games, the only one we have is that September 7th is St. Francis at home.
Or you got a little Subaru. Why do you think a couch is going to fit in there? This is ridiculous.
I'm taking the nootropics, so I'm really sharp. Then I deaden it with this.
Good.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Just water.
Yeah. Mostly water.
Yeah.
Some grain.
Put that in the bloopers. We've got 40 guys signed right now, and we'll probably end up, 60, 65, something like that. But
It's great to have 4 city kids on the roster. It really is. And just local kids in general.
he is an analytical dude.
Oh, my gosh.
She was like, the guy inside's a little creepy, so you need to go in and get it. And I said, don't call him creepy. There's a Ring camera right there. He's going to hear us.
This is season 3 now.
We're back, baby.
I interviewed 25 people. I didn't get to talk football. I didn't get to go listen to speakers. I didn't get to do as much as I would like to do at a convention.
There's no rules in podcasting.
No, it's your deal. Yeah, we made some adjustments to practice, and the guys, the players are, we were doing boot camp. They were up every single day.
Ready for the kickoff?
The Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast, season 3, on your favorite podcast platform.
And forever and always,
Go Warriors. I was really worried that you were going to forget that that's how you always signed off.
actually, I think I nailed it.
Hello, friends and neighbors. This is Troy Thompson of the Sunny Side of Life. Let's spend this year together reading the Word of God. Just take 10 to 15 minutes a day to join with me in the Sunny Side of Life's Bible in a Year experience. It may be just what you need. Lord knows I do. Besides, it's free, it's fast, and it's good for your soul. And you can start anytime. It doesn't take much to get caught up and on pace with us each day. So, whether you've read the Bible entirely already or you're just looking for a way to get it done, take a few moments with me here and let the good book be the sunny side of your life each and every day. And there's commercial work that we do with the voice and all of that fun stuff. So it's just kind of a busy one. I'm happy to be in a relaxed position. I'm happy that I still have a voice because there can be a lot of use with the voice when you do PA. Even though you have a microphone, you still have to make it exciting. And I do, obviously. I was able to lead the music in church on Sunday morning, which was actually not in church. It was in the Church of Nature. We were outdoors with the 2 churches that our pastor serves in the area. We're all gathered together out at the local lake park, Crystal Lake, if you really want to know. And it was nice. It was just a nice day. Had a little potluck, of course, like you do in the Midwest, following that. And then just kind of enjoyed the day with the kids and so forth. So it has been a busy time, but I'm happy to report that things are going to start to wind down in the way that they do as we move into fall, which is my favorite season. And I don't know if you're supposed to have a favorite season. I don't have favorites in a lot of categories that people would ask me about, but fall is absolutely my favorite season. I love the temperature changes in Iowa. I love usually we have clear skies and it's crisp mornings and cooler evenings. It still gets warm in the day. And then, of course, eventually the leaves start to change, and a few of them are starting to do that already, but not many. And when my wife Heidi and I traveled out to Maine to see, Maine, we'd never been to Maine. And part of the attraction is to see the fall colors and the foliage. And we saw Maine, and obviously we don't have a coast along the ocean here in Iowa at all, but we do have the same colors in our leaves. So we kind of got it. We kind of had that, we get it, And so I love that. I love the changing of the colors and all of that. And right now we're in that just perfect moment here at Sunnyside when all of the late summer flowers in our landscaping are all in full bloom. And so that is also beautiful. I just love walking out and looking at and seeing the flowers in full bloom and the morning glories during the day. It's just a beautiful place, and it's a beautiful time of year. And so I'm so excited about it. And it's also football time, which is also my favorite sport. And so I really am enjoying our football experiences that we're following with the local high school. My son, the youngest boy, Colin, he plays on the high school team, starts on the varsity team in the backfield for defense. And then, of course, the Jack is playing on special teams and occasionally gets in as a D-back as well at corner in the university as a freshman, which is awesome. So it's really cool to be able to see our kids as they develop and play this game of football, which we love as a family. It's also a game that, honestly, in both cases, hasn't been going it's been going well in the sense that the team is growing and developing, and I'm seeing a lot of good things in both sets of whether it's the university or the high school team. However, both teams are now 0-2. We've and fairly significantly being beaten by some pretty stout opponents, and that has not always been fun to watch. But I don't feel the same way about these football games as I did last year when it was Jack's senior year. You have a little bit more investment in their last year and any season. And I would say that Waldorf University is on the up, and they're going forward in the new conference, the Great Plains Athletic Conference, and that's going to be a fun thing to watch. But they're going to take their lumps, and it's going to be an uphill battle for sure because it's a very tough conference. And I look forward to seeing how they continue to improve and face that. And I do enjoy watching both on the high school sideline and the university sideline from the PA box, from the game operations booth. I can kind of keep an eye on, I have to call the game, but I also get to watch what the reactions are on the sideline from the players. And you can tell a lot from body language of the members of the team. And in both cases, they're getting beat and they're not bedraggled. They're not down. They're not yelling at each other. They're not blaming each other. They're lifting each other up. They're getting out and doing the job every down. And whether it goes their way, and sometimes it does, or it doesn't, which it hasn't many times because we've come up against some pretty good teams in both cases, they're still in the game and having fun and fighting hard. And that's all you can do. That's the whole lesson of competitive sports is that, keep your chin up, get knocked down, get back up again, and go play ball. And so I'm proud of all of the boys on the high school team and then the university team that I get to watch every week, and they're all doing the same thing, and it is a lot of fun, and so I'm very, very proud of them, and I hope that if you have kids or family members associated with sports, whatever it happens to be, doesn't have to be football, that you have the same thing in mind. I don't really have any commentary as a dad. Well, certainly not to coaches. Like I know there's a lot of dads that are also expert coaches, at least in their own mind, and maybe related to their playing days, which continue to get better and better in their own mind as we get older. And soldiers do the same thing. We have amazing stories that get better and better with age. It's like fine wine. Our stories as men get better with our age, as our memories decline and the accuracy of details. But I think that the dads that are hyper invested in the commentary on the criticism of coaching is a bit overdone, and it is too much in most cases. You can comment on accurate things that you see that are, that are relative and helpful. But if it's just a constant stream of negativity, I don't know what you think you're doing or how you're being useful, and certainly how you're helping your kid develop as an athlete and as a man. That's probably not the best thing to do, in my opinion. It isn't the best thing. It simply isn't. So, Yeah, I'm invested in all of the games that my kids are in, and I can't remember most of the scores of any of them. And I would have to think really hard to even remember a handful of actual scores from any sport. I've been a dad for nearly 30 years now, and lots of games in all types of sports. And I don't remember the results of most of them because that's not why I'm there. I just don't. I'm there for something else, and that's the development of character, work ethic, team spirit, and leadership, and obviously the physical part of the game and the mental part is very important to me. That's what I'm interested in, not necessarily the score. Although I do hate losing, I hate it as much as everybody else, but try to be a good parent and also a good fan, just by making sure that. My frustration with failure doesn't translate to meaning that any of my kids are, failures at all, because that's certainly not how I was raised. I never got that message. I was told that, you can do, whatever you want that is moral and ethical and should be glorifying God. And if you're doing those type of things, your life's going to be fine, even if you aren't the pinnacle of whatever it is you're trying to do. Your life will be full and fulfilled. And I think we talked about that a little bit last week. So it's been good for football. And then I'm also this of course was the first weekend of the NFL regular season. So we have a family draft fantasy league that we're in, and we've got all of our teams. I won last year somehow. And I doubt I'll win again this year, but maybe. You never know. And I did win. Pretty sure I won. Let me see. I think this first weekend I'm up 1, so that's good. Now, speaking of winning things, we're going to talk about what's happening this week, and I've created some things for you that I think might be interesting or amusing, or maybe they'll become, something that is your favorite. I don't know. But we're going to talk about the great debate. Well, I don't know if it's going to be great or not, but we have had a presidential debate back in June between Donald Trump, as you well know, and Joe Biden, also, whom you well know, although no one has really said or heard much from President Biden recently since that time, and particularly since the time that Kamala Harris became the nominee by fiat, suppose in some way. We just I don't know. What's the president doing right now? What is Joe doing? I'm sure it's fine. And isn't it funny how America is just like, well, it's like we don't even talk about Biden. He is still the president of the United States, and nobody is really concerned about that. There's like, we're going to have a new one in January. Don't worry, everything's going to be fine. And I think that's a little silly that we haven't been pretty hard on the administration in the most recent month or so since this all occurred, saying, where are you? What are you doing? And how is this getting better? And I suppose if you're in the Biden administration and you're not Joe Biden, you're probably looking for another job. And I suppose we'll start seeing the rats to jump ship, to use that expression. They're going to be trying to find something maybe in the new administration, or maybe they'll be finding something in a friendly news network, because I know that every political person in every administration is completely unbiased, and we need more of their opinions, right? I rely heavily on, for this show, the opinions of, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I would not be interested in their input, and maybe you're not interested in mine. But we're going to talk about the debate today, which is going to happen on Tuesday night, and it's going to be in Philadelphia. It'll be at the National Constitution Center out there in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Can you still say that? I don't know. Can you still say brotherly love? That might seem a little old-fashioned and archaic, and I don't know, maybe too masculine. I don't know. But the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, that's where it's going to be, in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is clearly a very key state. It's the Keystone State, which is probably perfectly named, because it probably is the key to the election this fall. between Harris and Trump. Everything is within, from what I've heard and read, everything is at this point pretty much within the margin of error. And we'll see how I don't put a tremendous amount of stock in polls, but they do have a vested interest in trying to be accurate. I mean, that's their job. They want to get hired the next time. And so I'm not a statistician, so I don't know, the survey details or the select pool that they pick from. But I think that their pollsters are generally pretty good at what they do, and it seems like everything is within the margin of error. Trump is within the margin of error with Harris in other key states, and then Pennsylvania is kind of the linchpin for somebody, and so they're having it in Pennsylvania. It'll be hosted by ABC, and ABC of course is owned by Disney, so I think you can get it on ABC Plus or Disney Plus or all these other things as well. We got rid of our Disney Plus subscription quite a while ago, so don't care. But you're going to be able to watch it pretty much anywhere because it'll be on YouTube almost immediately if you're not going to sit through it on Tuesday night if you've got something else going on. Which reminds me of a skit. I don't know how exciting this debate is going to be. I feel at this point, I don't know who is out there. And this is every presidential election for me. I don't know who is out there twiddling their thumbs going, yep, I still don't know who I'm going to vote for, the undecided. And I just don't believe that. I think there might be people that just don't know. There might be people that are going to flip a coin because they don't like either candidate and they're just doing their civic duty and voting. They may not have an opinion about either party or their platforms. They may not care about the more major planks in those platforms that separate the two parties pretty drastically. But the parties also, when it comes to spending money and general corruption and things like that, they're all about the same. And that's probably where some people are. And perhaps that's how people become undecided because they don't care. There are some people that know way more about the sports and statistics about sports. And, they watch ESPN and they watch Sports Center regularly, and they can talk shop in just about any subject like it's, amazing. And that is supposed to be a fairly innocuous way of being able to communicate and have a conversation about things that don't really matter, but they entertain people. In the same way, I suppose that some people talk about celebrities and their lives and who they're dating and who they're marrying and who they're dating while they're married and all that other stuff. I don't care about really any of that. I love sports. I just don't follow the professional leagues much, more than needing to see if I'm winning on my fantasy draft, to be honest with you, because I try not to idolize folks that are in entertainment of any sort. Even though athletes work hard and are amazing what they do, trying to avoid idolizing human beings of any sort. And that includes politics. But for me, growing up, I spent a lot more time listening to conversations with the adults talking about politics, because that was just what our family did instead of talking about sports. We were in sports, we were active, but it was just, it would seem like the direction of our country in civic organizations was more important than, who won and who lost the Super Bowl. And I don't know, maybe I'll eventually come to a point where I don't care and I just start caring more about, who's the best golfer and we get really in depth into following the Twins a little closer. I also follow the Red Sox, or maybe it'll be the Vikings or whatever it happens to be. But in the foreseeable future, I don't see myself doing that. So for me, I have no problem deciding who I'm going to vote for. And I think most people probably have made up their mind who they're going to vote for. And I understand that Illinois is opening up their early balloting at the end of this month. So because I'm not sure why, I don't quite get that. I don't get the early voting in these states. I think it's weird. I think that voting should be on one day, and I think that you should vote. I understand mail-in ballots to some degree. If you're a resident of one state and you're, say, a snowbird who leaves the north and goes down south to live for the winter, perhaps mail-in balloting is a good thing for you there. The military uses mail-in balloting for the same reason, because you keep your residency pretty much wherever you're stationed, and you just keep your local your state driver's license and all that stuff. But for most people, I don't quite understand why, if you are a normal, working, not traveling, not going south for the winter, not in the military type of person, not sure why you need to have a mail-in ballot. I don't get it. I think it's really open for corruption, and I think that has been, if not proven, certainly alleged seriously in the last several years, in the last couple of elections. So it's something that I don't get, but Illinois is doing it. And if we know one thing about the great state of Illinois, particularly the incredibly straight and narrow city of Chicago, that the people vote, and they vote often, and they've many times for the, perhaps they don't even have to be alive in Chicago, as the old saying goes. So it doesn't surprise me, I guess, that Illinois opens up their mail-in balloting a little earlier than everybody else. But that is what it is, and the campaigns have adjusted to that, and we'll see what happens. But it is it going to be an exciting debate? I really don't find presidential debates tremendously exciting. And the reason I don't find them tremendously exciting is because they don't typically tell me anything that I didn't already know. They might say some things that end up being memorable, but those are, needles in the haystack in most cases. And I don't like debates that are just a bunch of words that don't mean anything. It's just I'm just saying the same crap I've been saying the whole time. I'm going to use the same crappy examples that are supposed to make your heart bleed a little bit, or make you feel red-blooded, or get you fired. I'm like, all of that stuff is meant to manipulate us, and it works. So that's why they do it, and they have people that have never been elected to office who are really good at writing those types of one-liners and whatnot, working for the campaigns. And both sides will certainly have practiced to some degree, whatever it is. I think that, I think it'll be I don't know if it'll be boring or not, but it could be. It could be boring. I just don't think it's going to be as exciting as people make it out to be. And it reminds me of a skit that ran, during the election between George W. Bush in 1988 and Michael Dukakis. and at the beginning of that SNL skit, Tom Hanks was the guest host on SNL, and he was also in, I don't remember if it was a cold opening or what it was that they're famous for at SNL, but he did this thing where he was, breaking into, we're going to open up the presidential debate. And he was also saying that here are some other things that are on TV tonight in case you are not interested in this.
In fact, one of the conditions made by the Bush camp requires us to tell you what's on other channels. On HBO, The Sensuous Nurse, starring Ursula Andress and Udo Kier. On Showtime, The Making of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, an entertaining look at the summer's blockbuster hit. And on ESPN, a repeat of the LSU Georgia Tech Southeast Conference Showdown. And on the other hand, the Democrats have asked us to announce that C-SPAN will be rerunning the Benson Quayle debate at 4 a.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah, the other thing about that skit, and I encourage you to go back to YouTube and see it or whatever, just put in John Lovett's Dukakis debate, and it'll appear. But if you remember, there was you might not have been alive if you're listening, but in 1988, George H.W. Bush was quite tall. He was well over 6 feet tall, and Michael Dukakis was very short in stature. He was just a few I don't know how tall he actually was, but he was 5 foot something, and certainly 5 foot something in the single digits end of things. And that was pointed out in many parodies that SNL did. John Lovitz played Michael Dukakis, and it was Dana Carvey played George H.W. Bush. He did a pretty great impression of him, actually. And when they come out, they meet each other, and John Lovitz is very short as Michael Dukakis, and Dana Carvey comes out, he's quite tall as George H.W. Bush, and they stand there for they shake hands, they stand there for the photo, and then the Dana Carvey pats the head of a much shorter John Lovitz, who's Michael Dukakis. And then they go to their podiums, and George Bush just stands there because he's quite tall. And then Michael Dukakis goes over there, and the podium is like to his face. And so then people start giggling because that's very funny. And then he pushes apparently a button, and he starts magically rising. You can hear like an electric lift like coming up. It sounds like this. And then he goes too high. He gets way too high, so that he has to bring it back down. So whatever, there is quite a height difference as well in this debate, and maybe there are other things that are going to be. There's certainly going to be much more things that are available to be watching if you don't want to watch the debate, and perhaps you won't be, and perhaps you didn't if you're listening to this later in the week. I don't know. I won't give you a list because there's just so many things, there's so many channels, so many venues for streaming services now. So it would be pointless to do any of that like they did on that SNL skit back in the late 80s when we had cable, but still not that many stations. And most of us, including the people in my house, we had 3 channels. So, yeah, well, 4 if you count PBS, but who does that? Anyway, it could also be a big height difference. It actually is a height difference between Donald Trump and, Harris. She's got her, she's shorter in stature than Donald Trump. She's thinner too, obviously, than Donald Trump. They are going to stand behind podiums so that they can conduct this debate. And the rules of the debate are interesting. They're the same rules as a debate that Trump and Biden did back in June, and some people have complained that they would like to have the mics on all the time, and I think that Trump likes to get his zingers in, but he can be erratic, so it's probably good for him to not have the microphones on. I think that the Harris campaign wanted for the debate to have the microphones back on because they were hoping that he would step on himself and interrupt and say things, and that would give her the opportunity to do her well-rehearsed line from the last time she ran, which she could say "I'm speaking" when she was on the vice presidential debate with Mike Pence, which was kind of a ridiculous moment, but that is probably not going to happen. I'm sure they're going to come up with some other things that they're hoping on both sides will turn into just these amazing zingers and will get replayed in the public's mind through YouTube and shorts or whatever it happens to be. I just don't know if that's going to happen. It's going to be 90 minutes long. There's going to be 2 commercial breaks. They'll have 2 seated moderators just like before. And then I think David Muir and Lindsay Davis, and those are the only people that are asking questions. There will not be an audience. Trump does pretty good in front of an audience, but maybe this will also keep him from getting lost in trying to entertain the audience. And that may work in Kamala Harris's benefit to some degree, that there's no audience because, or vice versa. Maybe it helps. I think it's good to have an audience. You can read people's body language. You can get a nod from somebody. It makes you feel like you're on the right track. They're hearing what you're saying. Neither candidate will have that, so they'll just have to, I guess, imagine that what they're saying is interesting. And I think that Harris will probably have a very well rehearsed, pointed argument for whatever it is she's going to try to say. She does not do well, in my opinion, off of the notes, and she likes to have things scripted and know what she's going to say. She likes to have her argument laid out. I don't know if that's a lawyer thing, but she's not comfortable, in my opinion, off the cuff, and I think that's been pointed out quite a bit in different methods of the news that's out there or whatever. Whereas Trump talks off the cuff probably way too much, and he doesn't typically get into the weeds and the details about policy, and she's probably more apt to be able to speak policy points. Now, I don't agree with her policy, so it'll be interesting to see if Trump is disciplined and can be give us some information, give us some real information. I think Trump's better at appearing, moments of real, like you kind of get it, you kind of know him in that regard. Whether you like him or not, you probably can say, well, he's probably that's just who he is. And I don't get the same feeling from Harris. She seems very produced to me, and they're trying very hard in her campaign to make her seem joyful and likable and fun and all of that other stuff. And I'm not sure if that's working. But again, I don't think it matters, because I think if you're a person who doesn't like Donald Trump, you're like, if you're Liz Cheney or Dick Cheney, if you're that guy who shoots people while hunting and gets us into wars like Iraq, they probably, you already know who you're going to vote for. So and if you like Trump, you're going to vote for Trump. Like, nothing that's going to be said in the debate is going to change that. And if you're in the middle and you seriously still don't know who you're voting for, I think that you might be, there might be something wrong with you. It's just because, pick a side. What are you waiting for? It doesn't matter if any story comes out in October, because that didn't work last time. The story that the Democrats tried to do in 2016 regarding the whatever was that, the story about Trump talking to Billy somebody or whatever about grabbing women's by the whatever, another name for a cat, and that was supposed to just end it. It didn't do anything there. And then I don't know if, and obviously the Hunter Biden, laptop situation was considered to be, Russian propaganda. And now, from what I understand, the government is doing a really good job at making sure, not stopping Russian propaganda, but making sure that we know that there's a lot of Russian propaganda out there. So that's ramping up again as we draw a couple months away from the elections. The government, which is controlled by the executive branch, which is controlled by Biden, Harris, they're letting us know there's a lot of Russian propaganda. It's almost like you're saying, listen, if Trump wins, it's probably because of Russian propaganda. It's not because we ran somebody that you didn't want. But there's a possibility that pretty good possibility actually that Harris will win the popular vote, and then could lose in the Electoral College, which is frustrating for Democrats because they don't like the Electoral College unless it works for them, and then if you're Trump, you don't like, the popular vote or the Electoral College if you don't win. So who knows what you can do. Anyway, these two, whether it'll be boring and I don't know, but I'm just not expecting much of it to move the needle either way to one side or the other. The candidates are going to be introduced by the moderators. That's pretty standard. Apparently on September 3rd, which was last Tuesday, they did a digital coin flip so that they could determine different things like who was going to do the closing statements last and which podium they get to have. So it was kind of like a football coin flip. And Donald Trump won the coin toss. He chose to do the final closing statement. So he's going to go after Harris. And then it goes to Harris, and she said she's going to choose the podium on the right. So it's the right podium on the screen, but it'll be actually stage left. So There you go. And I don't know why that matters, but apparently, so if you're standing stage left, she's going to look out on the right. So that's where he was that's where Trump was standing last time when he, beat Joe Biden in the debate. I don't know if that's the logic, because I doubt that where Joe Biden was standing had anything to do with why he didn't do well on that debate. The candidates are going to enter. Once they're introduced by the moderators, they're going to come in from opposite sides. The Democrats get introduced first because they're the incumbents. Let's not forget that. They are the incumbents. She's the incumbent. She's replacing Joe Biden. She's the vice president. She's an active part of the administration. She's claims to be the last in the room, and she's got all the decision going. But at the same time, acts like she's somebody new that we've never seen before. And perhaps, we haven't, except, kind of in the shadows waiting for Joe to trip up or something. Then Trump will come in, and that'll be, we'll see what he does. Maybe he's going to rip his shirt off. Probably not. Let's hope not. There will be no opening statements because nobody cares. That's fluff. It's just your campaign pitch. People can, see that anytime they want. They can hear it anytime they want. It's just like your platform. They can go to your website and they can see, I'm sorry. I mean, at least on one of the candidates, you can go and see what the platform is. They're going to stand behind those podiums, but they will get the closing statements, but it's just 2 minutes. So it's not like this long-winded closing statement. It's just a couple of minutes per candidate at the end. And then they're going to be behind the podiums the whole time. They don't get to have any props. I don't know what kind of props you would have, but no props. So no Carrot Top debate here. No props are allowed. No Gallagher debates. No, it can't pull out a big smashing hammer and bust up a watermelon. Can't do that. And also, there's no pre-written notes. You're not allowed to take any notes with you, which is, I'm sure that Harris would prefer to have notes in that way. And Trump would probably prefer not to have notes, but he probably should have notes. So either way, that is what it is. There will be no topics or questions that will be shared in advance with the campaigns or the candidates. Okay. All right. Well, allegedly. We kind of know how that works out. I can't imagine that. I just don't think that the Trump campaign would just give a hoot at all. Like, they would never cross their mind to call up ABC and be like, hey, listen, come on. We go way back. Can you give me some information? He would never do it. He doesn't care. He's just going to go with whatever he thinks it is. I don't think that that's how the Democrats work, because we've seen that before with Hillary Clinton. Like, they are going, I got to imagine that the phone has been ringing over at ABC. Just come on, just a little bit, just a little bit. Do you want the end of our democracy? Or some other ridiculous comment. But hopefully that's the case. Hopefully they stick to that situation. I guess I'd like to find out if it wasn't the case. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that goes on politically that we find out about too late, or we just never knew, and we just still don't know. And so the press is also, being judged by this for sure, and how they handle. I thought the last debate, the moderators did great. I didn't think that it was a bad debate as far as the moderators go at all. So hopefully it's the same situation. And that was CNN, and this is ABC. Hopefully ABC takes a note from CNN and does, what I think is a pretty fair debate. I don't like it when candidates argue with the moderators. It's pointless. And I don't like it when moderators try to get what I guess maybe the gotcha questions, whatever they happen to be. So hopefully those don't come up either for either candidate, because they're just dumb. It's you get your tiny moment as a broadcaster, and then half the country hates you and the other half the country thinks that you're brilliant, and you don't deserve either one of those sentiments. So the candidates' microphones, we already talked about that. They're going to be on only when the candidate is talking, and then they'll be off, muted, when the time belongs to the other candidate. And they'll have 2 minutes to answer their questions, each question. They do get a 2-minute rebuttal, and they get an extra minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. So it's possible that one question could go on for 5-10 minutes. That's fine. if you're not bringing anything new to the table, don't keep going back to it. And that was something that Trump did on the last debate that it was annoying. Like he kept going back to and it wasn't even, I don't even remember what it was. That's how insignificant it was to me. So it's like, pick up the new thing. Either candidate, my advice would be like, pick up, move on, and hit your opponent over the head with the new question and your answer and why you're so awesome. You don't keep going back. I want to bring up, I'm going to answer that question in just a second, but I want to go back and I want to talk about something that really made me mad 10 minutes ago. It's like, move on. And that's going to be difficult for Trump. And so he'll have to probably figure that out or not. We'll see. They will not be allowed to ask questions of each other. They're not allowed to ask each other questions. So in the spirit of a true debate, like if we're talking about Lincoln Douglas, and we're not talking about a Lincoln or a Douglas in either of these two people, like they're not a Lincoln or a Douglas at all. So that's maybe not a fair example, but obviously they would just go back and forth with each other. There wasn't even necessarily a moderator. They would just have the debate and they had rules and they would follow them and they would, ask each other questions and let that person respond back and forth. That's not how we do it now. But we also don't have people that can remember pages of material in their brains to be able to regurgitate that accurately in a debate. That's not who we've had running for president for, well, maybe since Lincoln. So maybe that's not, like I said, maybe not a good example. I wish it was the case. Don't we all wish that was the case, that our presidential candidates were just sharp as a tack and capable and honorable and ethical and 100% in every way? That'd be great. But in my lifetime, I'm not sure that we can say that about any of the presidents, and some of them I really liked. So campaign staff, obviously, they're not allowed to interact with candidates during the commercial breaks, no matter how much they want to. Again, I don't think Trump cares if his campaign staff is even in the building. And Harris might be a little bit more dependent on that stuff. She does have a tendency to work by committee on these type of things a lot more. And so I don't know if that'll matter much at all. But yeah, I don't know. It's hopefully just a straight debate, and maybe we will learn something, and maybe they'll be honest about how they think their policies will actually work. It will be interesting to see how Donald Trump talks about, if he's asked any questions about spending money, because he is a big blowout, spend a lot of money Republican, and that has been that's been the case. Actually, the Republicans have never not spent a lot of money. They just they just say they're going to not spend as much money, and then they don't. And it'll be interesting to see if Harris has the ability to be honest about her opinions. Like, if you're truly a person that thinks that some of your environmental positions or your position, whether it's about clean energy or alternative energy or electric vehicles or how to reduce the prices of food at the grocery store or your economic plan. I would be interested to see if those opinions and positions change to try to make her seem more centrist, because she's not. That's not. Trump actually is a centrist in the sense that he's comparatively to Republicans of old, for instance, he's not going to really change anything about abortion. He appointed Supreme Court justices that kicked it back to the states. That has got a lot of people, frustrated or infuriated on one side. But I mean, he was a Democrat back in the day, and so he's liberal as a Republican, which puts him closer to the center. It's kind of funny how they try to make the media tries to make Trump seem like this far right extremist. He's a populist, and he says the things that people want to hear. And he has done that, I think, in a way to the Republican Party that is different because he's kind of pulled them with him. Like, this is where we're going. And I don't care if you like it, because I'm going to be the guy at the top of the ticket no matter what. That made a lot of Republicans upset, and understandably so, I suppose. But that's his personality, and so you're getting what you're whatever that is with Trump, you're getting that. And with Harris, she's appealing. She tries to try to balance that weird appeal between what I would consider crazy leftists and whatever normal Democrats are left that are closer to the center. They just hate Trump. They're going to vote for whoever's on the blue ticket anyway. So she's going to try to make herself maybe seem not as extreme. But most of her career, she's had some pretty extreme views, and we'll see. She's trying to be, but that's what candidates do, and maybe that's what they think Donald Trump is doing. Oh, he's a populist. Just wait until he runs for a third term, or whatever they think is going to happen. I mean, come on. So, yeah. Anyway, what's going to happen? I don't know. I just know this. We're going to watch two people running for president. One of them is going to be the president in after the election, and if there's any recalls or recounts or whatever kind of fiascos happen, people can start voting now or at the end of the month. There's going to potentially be, there should be another debate between Trump and Harris in October. We'll see if that happens. There's supposed to be a vice presidential debate on CBS on the 1st of October, and we'll see how that goes. Not that vice presidential debates in the scheme of things aren't that important, in my opinion, but we'll get one, and we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how this one goes. So did I really say anything? Not really, but I do have this. I don't know, maybe I did say something. My feeling is that if we take their words, if we take the politicians' words, what they say, and we want politicians, and we agree with what they're saying, and we expect them to follow through with that, and they do follow through with it, then we get what we essentially are paying for. When politicians say whatever they think they need to say to get elected, and then do nothing like that, but that's why people voted for them, that's deception, that's dishonesty, and that is obviously wrong. So it would, and neither Trump, and especially, in my opinion, Harris, although she's much more articulate and better at going upstairs than Joe Biden, she still has a lot of word salad type things going on in her vernacular, which I'm sure you're aware of. But what would happen if you took those words and turned them into a song, which I did, and I called it CocoNUT.
The significance of the passage of time. There's great significance to the passage of time. And there is such great significance to the passage of time. When we think about a day in the life of our children, when we talk about our children, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community. Vote for me on the VP. I climbed to the top of a coconut tree. Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. We have to stay woke, like everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Vote for me, I'm the VP. I've climbed to the top of a coconut tree. And Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called a community. They are children of the community. They are children of the community. Vote for me. Vote for me. I'm the VP. I'm the VP. I climbed to the top of a coconut tree. Coconut tree. Coconut tree. Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Powerful country. Russia is a smaller country. We have to stay woke. And nothing you can do for just to stay more woke than less woke. Then less woke. Then less woke. Vote for me. I'm the VP. I've climbed to the top of a coconut tree. Of a coconut tree. Vote for me. I'm the VP.
it'd be better if we could just turn everything into a song like a musical. And they could musicals lie. I mean, it's hyperbole. Both of these candidates and their campaigns are prone to hyperbole. They say wacky things. They do wacky things. It's a lot of performative art. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's really just, are you a leftist or are you a conservative or progressive? I don't think that progressive. I think that we got to stop letting people commandeer language. That is not, I would say, regressive, in my opinion, particularly Marxism. In my opinion, I think that's regressive, not progressive. But you're either a progressive person, if you want to be called that, or you're a conservative. And based on that, that's how you're going to vote. And I hope everybody does vote, because I really do want to see how this election turns out. I have my opinion of how I want it to turn out, and probably you do too. But what would happen if we took I didn't let Donald Trump off the hook either. If you like the song CocoNUT, and it's CoCo, C-O-C-O, capital N-U-T, because I do think that Harris is a nut. And so that song's called CocoNUT. It is AI generated. I wish I could tell you that that's something that I came up with on the music end. She came up with the words. Those are her words. I just added to the verse and put them in a way that it would be able to be put into a song by AI. And so that's how you got Coco. If you like that, feel free to listen to it as much as you want. And I'll probably get it up separately on just our YouTube channel for Sunnyside Farm Studios. I'll be working on that. But I didn't let Donald Trump off either, because he has got his own problems with songs recently. And he also says bombastic and crazy things sometimes. So we'll put that into a song as well. And it sounds, well, this one is called Lady, You're Fired.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I'm DJ Trump, I'm like a really smart person. I'm very intelligent, vote for me for president. I know words, I have the best words. You know I'm very rich, I'm not a politician. We're gonna build a wall, illegal alien prohibition. We're gonna win so much, you're gonna be amazed. Took a bullet to the ear, and I wasn't even phased. Lady, you're fired, you're out, I'm higher. Make America great again, again. I can stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters. I know more about ISIS than the generals do. Trump flags for homes, for cars, and for all those voters. The fake news is the enemy of the people. The system is rigged, fake news tricks the sheeple. I have a very good brain and I've said a lot of things, own the best hotels and rock the boxing ring. We're gonna win so much, you're gonna be amazed. Took a bullet to the ear, and I wasn't even phased. Lady, you're fired, you're out, I'm higher. Make America great again, again.
I'm not a threat to democracy at all. They are a threat to democracy. I'm the one that fixed our military. I'm the one that knocked out ISIS. I'm the one. I did so much. I also took a bullet.
Fake news is the enemy of the people. The system is rigged, fake news tricks the sheeple. I have a very good brain and I've said a lot of things, on the best hotels and rock the boxing ring. We're gonna win so much, you're gonna be amazed. Took a bullet to the ear, and I wasn't even phased. Lady, you're fired, you're out, I'm higher. Make America great again, again.
From today and from the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again.
So, yeah, there you go. So Trump, those are his words. And again, I took them and turned them into lyrics that maybe go together a little bit better and maybe change the word to make it rhyme or something like that. But that's AI generated. That's not me. I wish I could take credit for writing music and playing instruments and even singing like that, and I can't. But if you like that one too, I'll turn that into a little YouTube video, and you can download it and watch it as many times, because this is what I found. I've shown, I've had my friends that are going to vote for Harris listen to CocoNUT because I think that it's going to, kind of make them mad. But it's a catchy tune, and they kind of like it, and so. Maybe that's their favorite song. Maybe it's a campaign song, and they're just like, we embrace the word salad thing, and this is so catchy that we want all of our people to sing it. Maybe that'll happen. And for Donald Trump, maybe he would like his song too. And I've had people that are going to vote for Trump listen to that, and nobody's taking offense at the words. There's nothing they could do about it anyway. Those are the candidate's own words. So I didn't make that up. And they just have to decide, they already know who they're voting for, so it can become their theme song. And wouldn't that be great if little old Sunnyside Farm Studios, the sunny side of life, produces songs that are popular on both sides of this election? And maybe that's what we need to bring this country back together. It's just a little bit more parody songs generated by AI to make this country come together again. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, I hope you have a great week. Whether you watch the debate or you don't, doesn't matter to me. Stay strong, stay happy, and stay out there being the sunny side of someone else's life. I want to thank all our friends and guests for stopping by for this episode of The Sunny Side of Life. All the Sunny Side of Life players who stopped by, creative support provided every day by my incredible wife Heidi and our fantastic 4 boys. Thanks to every one of our listeners. That means you. A big shout out to my brothers and sisters in uniform holding the line around the world. Share the word, folks. Let the people know what we're up to. Subscribe so you never miss an episode, and follow us on social media. All skits are written or adapted and directed by me, Troy Thompson, and are produced here at Sunnyside Farm Studios and delivered to all platforms by Buzzsprout. Music and sound effects are provided by Soundstripe. The Sunny Side of Life is a weekly production about our life on the family farmstead here in Iowa, the liberties we prize, and the pursuits which make us happy. Now, none of this is possible without Christ in our lives. For the Lord God is our sun and our shield. He gives us grace and glory. So may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may the sunny side of your life, liberty and pursuits, be in Christ, and made evident unto you each and every day, and give you peace.